What if Germany had won World War II? Imagine turning on the radio in 1950 and hearing not the voice of freedom, but the speeches of a victorious Nazi regime. What if the Allies had lost and Hitler's Germany had succeeded in its plans for Europe and beyond? Today, we explore this chilling alternate history, not as celebration, but as a warning of how fragile freedom can be. The turning point, Germany's defeat in our real timeline, came from major mistakes. Invading the Soviet Union too soon, underestimating Britain's resilience, and awakening the industrial power of the United States. But what if these choices had gone differently? In this alternate timeline, the German Air Force destroys Britain's defenses in 1940, opening the door for a successful invasion. London falls, Churchill is forced into exile, and Britain is neutralized before America can join the war. With the West secure, Hitler delays his eastern ambitions, building up resources before attacking the Soviet Union. This time, the invasion is better timed, supply lines stronger, and Moscow falls. By 1943, Germany dominates Europe from the Atlantic coast to the Ural Mountains. A new order in Europe victory would allow the Nazis to reshape Europe according to their ideology. France, Belgium, and the Netherlands become occupied protectorates, ruled by German officials and collaborators. Eastern Europe suffers a far darker fate. Millions are displaced, enslaved, or eliminated under the so-called General Plan Ost. German settlers are moved into these territories, while Slavic peoples are reduced to second-class status or worse. The Holocaust, already one of the darkest crimes in human history, expands further. With no Allied armies to halt the camps, extermination spreads unchecked. The dream of a united Europe under Nazi rule becomes a nightmare of brutality, censorship, and fear. America isolated. Across the Atlantic, the United States faces a new reality. Without Britain as a base, America cannot stage an invasion of Europe. Germany uses its submarine fleet to cut off shipping across the Atlantic, making supply lines dangerous and costly. Though America remains powerful, it is pushed into isolation. Some U.S. politicians call for negotiation, hoping to avoid direct confrontation with a Europe controlled by Berlin. Meanwhile, German scientists work on advanced weapons, long-range rockets and jet aircraft capable of threatening American cities. For the first time, the U.S. no longer feels safe behind its oceans. A divided world. The world of the 1950s would likely be divided into two spheres of influence. In Europe and Africa, the Reich expands its power, exploiting resources and enforcing racial hierarchies. In Asia, Japan dominates under its Greater East Asia Co-Prosperity Sphere, controlling China, Korea, and much of Southeast Asia. Together, Germany and Japan rule most of the globe. Small democratic enclaves, perhaps the Americas and Australia, remain, but they are cut off, facing immense pressure. Tensions between Germany and Japan may eventually arise, but in the short term, both powers succeed in carving up the world. Daily life under the Reich. What would ordinary life be like under this empire? For those considered acceptable by the regime, society would mean constant propaganda, limited freedom, and strict loyalty to the state. Books, art, and music not approved by the regime would disappear. Dissent would mean imprisonment or worse. For minorities, intellectuals, and anyone opposing the regime, life would be marked by fear, persecution, and in many cases, annihilation. Instead of a Europe of innovation and democracy, the continent would stagnate under dictatorship. Why it didn't happen? Thankfully, This future never came to pass. Germany's military overstretched itself, and the combined resistance of the Soviet Union, Britain, and the United States proved overwhelming. Allied sacrifices on battlefields from Normandy to Stalingrad, combined with industrial strength and determination, brought the Nazi regime to collapse in 1945. The real history reminds us of two lessons. First, that authoritarianism can come dangerously close to reshaping the world. And second, that unity and resistance against tyranny can change the course of history. The question of what if Germany had won is more than a thought experiment. It's a reminder of what was at stake during the Second World War. Exploring alternate histories helps us appreciate the world we live in and the price paid to preserve it. If you found this video insightful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share for more explorations of history's greatest what-ifs.